2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn Joe into DFS pros.
The NBA Daily Dispatch brought to you by DFSArmy.com. Use the promo code podcast to get 20% off each month of your subscription. Once again, DFSArmy.com, promo code podcast. I'm host Al Walsh. Find me at 14a.walsh. Find Keith Hall at Boomer's DFS Daddy. Nice little Sunday. Holy Moses. I am getting ahead of myself. Nice Wednesday 10 gamer that we got going on here tonight. Looking forward to a couple things. We got some news here on the Golden State Warriors that are certainly going to bring some things into play. But overall, how are we feeling about this slate?
I hate the Warriors this year. I was sitting there and I was like, FanDuel's done a great job about, making sure that guys are priced up when they can, no injuries in a couple days and all this other stuff. And then I looked last night and Sean Livingston's 4,300 and Patrick McCaw's 4,200 or something like that. Now, the good news is McCaw's out, so we don't have to worry about that. Right. But, Livingston's going to be chalk.
Good. I never worry about Livingston anyway, so... Good.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: is at 4,300, he's got 30-point upside. If he gets
2 games,
if he gets he has 30-point upside.
Right, in over 2 games.
Out. No.
Yeah.
In a single. Okay. Oh my.
You're talking about one game?
Yes, I'm talking about tonight in this matchup. He has the ability to go for 30. Okay.
It is a good matchup on the adjusted DVP. I will give you that.
Let's see here, Sean Livingston.
We're just going right into point guards then, right?
Okay, so in 20 minutes, yeah, we're just going to go right into point guards. Let's just go ahead. In 20 minutes against Orlando, which is not it's a better matchup.
It is.
Yeah, hold on. It's a better matchup than tonight. He put up a 29.4.
He did.
In 20 minutes. Are you telling me if the game is close that he's not going to run out there for 25? And you're telling me now he doesn't have – now, granted, he was probably $3,000 or $3,500, whatever his salary was there. So it's not as big of a profit margin. But if he's announced the starter tonight and it's not Quinn Cook, who will be in the DS later, guys, just chill. McCaw wasn't announced out yet. Just calm down. But are you telling me that if he doesn't run out there for 25 minutes, he doesn't have 30 to 35-point upside in this matchup? You're crazy.
No.
You're crazy.
I'm not first of all, he hasn't played more than 20 minutes all season. You brought it up, but I got to bring it up again. We don't even know if he's going to be starting tonight. So again, there's been situations where he could have played big minutes. He doesn't, and he's not a big.
He needed to though.
But he's not a big part of the offense anyway. He's not a scorer. So we're relying on things that are out of his control.
He only needs to score 15 points. It's the secondary and the peripheral stats that he can produce with.
Right, I get it, but
he's going to be chalk.
We're talking about this great and here's the fade candidate of the night then. We're talking about Livingston in this great matchup, but what great is a matchup if the guy in it doesn't score at all? So again, I'm never worried about Livingston. If Livingston puts up 30 points, that's fine. Great, good job. But I am certainly fading that chalk. You look at what he's done over the course of it, not only this season, but over the course of his career. I think there's been a couple spots like this that have popped up where Curry's been out, and he just has flat out sucked. He just doesn't do his job. So. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about Sean Livingston tonight. Now,
I agree with you on that. I don't think you need to worry about it. I was merely saying that he's going to be chalk, and it doesn't matter who's announced the starter. He's going to garner ownership because of the perception that, okay, so let's see right now. He's got.
And I hope he does. All the power to him, but just that many more people are going to be let down.
He's got
hard stance on this today. Nice, firm, Timberlands in the grass, mud stance on this right now. Although I don't own a pair of Timberlands anymore, but if I did,
what are Timberlands?
Boots.
Oh.
Tim's, you know?
No, sorry.
Very popular in the hip-hop community in the 90s and early 2000s.
Nope, sorry.
All right, fair enough.
So right now, if I were to, I just pressed the refresh on my model here, okay, and I'm going to pull up Sean Livingston's minutes.
There's just no way you will get me on Team Livingston.
No, I agree. It's a great fade candidate, but we're talking 25 minutes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And again, too, Livingston coming off suspension. Kerr had some choice words about this situation. Let's see here. So he says, tonight for Livingston, it's going to depend on matchups. He's not guaranteed to have that starting point guard job tonight. Might even go with Iguodala at point guard. Could have Cook as some at the point guard as well. So, again, 25 minutes aren't even guaranteed.
I say it's going to be between 20 and 25 minutes. I still think he's a great fade candidate.
Oh yeah,
especially if he garners ownership throughout the day. Unless we get some word that he's going to play heavy minutes, because here's the situation. Don't we want him to play heavy minutes tonight?
I don't.
No.
I want him to sit down at 30% ownership.
Listen to this. Don't we want it and then bust? Because we know that FanDuel, they've been adjusting their prices garnered on ownership right now.
Sure.
We want him to be highly owned. That way he spikes up in price. That way we can play him in certain spots when we know exactly what's
there
going
will
on.
never be a time. He could be free, and I wouldn't play him. I told you, strong, firm stance on the anti-Livingston team. And he's a former net. Great guy. Just the guy doesn't score. So what the hell do I need him on my team for? Next. I'm out on that guy. So, all right, let's continue. Now, it's interesting, too, because Kemba Walker's a big topic of discussion. He goes off in his first game after that shoulder injury. Depending on how this matchup goes, if he draws Livingston, I don't really like that matchup for Kemba either. I know you're typically not on Kemba, basically because he's in that upper 30s range, not really much upside from the guy. I
was on Kemba under 8K against Orlando.
Okay, but here again, probably going to be a lot of high ownership game going up against the Warriors. People are going to try to take advantage of that. But
second highest total on the board, a closer spread. Yeah, I mean, I can see it.
Hold on. I want to throw something back at you too with the Warriors, right? When they have a couple of their guys out. So tonight it'll be Curry, Dre, definitely the two best playmakers on this Golden State offense. Now,
is Dre confirmed out?
Doubtful.
Okay.
I mean, we know doubtful means nearly dead, basically. So.
I think somebody posted something in Slack the other day that only 3% of players that are leaning towards doubtful have played.
Yep.
So
I mean, look, we've seen this Warriors offense be very clunky at times when they're missing one of their guys in their rotation. So, I think it's certainly worth looking at that. Maybe this game won't be the game that ends up with the second highest total of the night. I could just see this being a KD smash spot, and that's really it.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. The problem is like we talk about a lot. I mean, one, he's going to have Michael Kidd-Gilchrist on him probably most of the game. And
Against KD, I'm not worried about that.
I understand. Like, it's KD. He's one of the best players in the world. I get that.
Booyah. I'm glad
But
you admitted it.
I never doubted it. I never denied it.
I know. Okay.
But, like, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist does make it a little bit tougher. A little bit. Not a lot. A little bit tougher. Okay? Because he is a pretty decent defender. The issue I have is the spacing that it's going to create now. You're probably going to have Andre Iguodala run extended minutes, Jordan Bell run extended minutes with Dre out. You're going to have Curry and Quinn Cook probably, or not Curry, sorry, Livingston and Quinn Cook, and probably Swaggy running not Swaggy running the point, but Swaggy's going to get some extra minutes, and you're going to have Clay that's going to get a bump in shots as well. I mean, you're talking about half of the consistent offense for the Golden State Warriors and one of their biggest defenders. Like, the spacing that those two guys create when they're on the floor is unbelievable. So if these Warriors get off to a slow start in the first half, don't be surprised if it takes them a half to get used to playing without Dre and Curry tonight.
Indeed. And I guess to go back to the beginning of that discussion, we were tying that into Kemba. Again, if the Warriors aren't scoring that much, Hornets don't have to score as much. They could, but again, it's just the pace of the game will, change dramatically and won't be as high flying and whatnot. So again, although that game has the second highest total of the night, I could see it definitely being an underwhelming performance by both sides. When we get to the small forward position, we'll break down a couple of those other guys because they are in play. Hey man, easy on you. You sound like you're like the keyboard owes you money or something over there, bro.
No. I had the hiccups.
I know, and I told you. You sound like you're a fantastic words per minutesman, but the people need to hear.
I mean, me and you, we can type like nobody's business.
Here's a good ping pong matchup that we got tonight. We got the Orlando Magic going up against the Atlanta Hawks. Elf Payton, Dennis Schroeder, both in nice spots. Atlanta's the best matchup for point guards this season. Orlando is the second best matchup for point guards this season, according to adjusted DVP. I mean, if I say, as I said. I mean, look, it's just it's a great ping pong situation. So, this is a pretty easy sell for most people here.
It is.
It is.
I mean, they're number 2 and 4 as far as projected points at the point guard position tonight. So,
oh baby,
it's one of those things like you're sitting there looking at it and going, huh. Well, what can I really, really do at this position tonight? Well, you could go with Kyrie Irving at 8,900, who's not in a bad matchup. I think he's going to be lower owned. Wow. But his price is starting to creep up again. But, like we've seen, Kyrie can Kyrie any day, any time. But these are the two best matchups. This is a great ping pong. Now, I will say this. I think if you had to give me one, I think I'm going Elf.
I like it.
1, because he's cheaper. 2, because he's got the, 100th of a point better matchup. But right. 3, we've seen him go off for 65.
My God, your bullet points were my bullet points.
We haven't seen that from the German yet. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like, he's very consistent. Yeah, again, he's another one of those guys where we get to that 5x values. Like, all right, I'm done. See you guys tomorrow. I did my job. But, yeah, Elf will certainly go a lot more above and beyond. So, again, it's a great matchup. Orlando running one of the fastest paces in the NBA this season. They're home. That's going to help Atlanta in this matchup. A lot of people benefit from that. Both of these teams have just been god-awful on the defensive end. So, again, going up against a terrible team, you like to have the team's main ball handler, a guy who's going to be involved in that offense. It's an easy transition into that. So, again, in short, Elf, Schroeder, both fantastic options tonight. But we're going to give the title belt to Elf on that one. You mentioned Kyrie Irving before. We'll mention him again. Dallas is the 4th best ADVP matchup in the NBA for point guards. Kyrie hung a real 47 on these Mavs earlier this season. The line here in this game actually started out at 10.5 in favor of the Celtics. Marcus Morris is actually going to be out for the Celtics tonight. Again, that's just one piece of the puzzle, but the line did drop here. So it's Celtics minus 8.5 now.
How does Marcus Morris move a line?
He does not move a needle like that. It actually,
that's got to be somebody coming in on it.
The line moved. The line was actually at 9 at some point last night when I was doing these notes. So.
It was at 9 this morning when I did my notes.
Yeah. So, money definitely came in quick there on the Mavericks. So, again, it's a good spot for the Celtics. Again, don't worry about the Celtics kicking the Mavs' ass. Kyrie should do his thing in this situation, and it's a fantastic matchup.
Yeah, the Marcus Morris thing's we'll talk about who that really helps a little bit later, but there's actually a couple guys that helps, so that's really good. Point guard, I don't really love a lot at the point guard position. Those are going to be your three main targets.
Damn, man, we're these are the only guys
a question
I wrote down in the notes.
Here's a question I have.
This is good.
Okay, now we talked a lot to begin the show on Sean Livingston.
I bet.
Let me ask you this question: if most of the industry is off Sean Livingston because of what happened the last time Curry was out, with Patrick McCaw in there. Now we know McCaw's out, but if Patrick McCaw is, all that good stuff. If we're going to get him at under 5% at 4,300, do you have any interest then? Even if he plays 21, 22 minutes at 4,300? You don't?
No.
See, I think I do. In tournaments. Or maybe in cash games. Maybe in cash games, I think I do. Because then he doesn't have to do as much. He can go out there and give me a 24, and I'll be happy with it. I think then I would have a little bit more interest with it. I don't think I do if he's going to garner ownership, at least in tournaments, anyways. So.
Fair enough. So now you see just how firm my stance is on Sean Livingston. One guy I forgot.
He's a get out of my build type of player tonight.
Yes, exactly. There was another guy that I meant to mention in my notes. I didn't do it, but Rajon Rondo. Again, I have been saying this for pretty much the whole season, but I'm just not playing him while AD and Boogie are in the same lineup. They swallow up a ton of his stats, ton of his numbers. With AD out, we're seeing this situation come to fruition exactly as I envisioned it. So Rondo's still only $6,000 on FanDuel. The guy's just been going bananas these last 3 games. Great matchup here tonight against Denver. That's it. I'm in.
Yeah, I played Rondo with AD out the last couple of games, and he's done well. It's one of those things I don't mind playing. Like we talked a lot earlier in the season when Rondo was out and limited. You can play Drew Holiday with a combination of Boogie and AD in the same lineup because they kind of worked off of each other and helped each other. Rondo doesn't do that. You play him with one or the other. And pray, but most likely you're still only playing Boogie and AD. Well, with one of them out, he's performed well. And I think a lot of it, too, has to do with getting used to the offense and getting used to running with one of these guys. But we know that he has chemistry with Boogie. They played in Sacramento together for a year and a half or a year. Was it a year and a half? Did he get traded from the Mavs?
I believe he was at Sacramento at the beginning of that season. I remember him signing like a 1-year, $12 million deal and being like, well, Sacramento, being like, why? And then being like, oh, well, Sacramento's the only, team that can really stand his shit right now. So,
but I thought he got traded from the Mavs to Sacramento and then re-signed with Sacramento and then ended up going to the Bulls last year. So, but anyways,
Rondo's seen the United States of America.
Yeah. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. We know that Boogie and Rondo can work well together. So the only question is like, and this is something that we'll start talking about, after the first of the year into the depending on how quick it ends up getting going, is we got to watch for Boogie getting texts. He's at 7 already. And if you're new to the NBA, you only get 16 techs before you're suspended for a game. Now, it's like I said, it's not something we have to watch, but it's something else that we haven't talked about lately either. Guys, keep in mind with the Warriors right now, like the refs are not taking any of their crap, because when Sean Livingston headbutted the dude the other night, he only got suspended for a game, and the ref got suspended for a week. Like,
He did.
They are pissed about that. Like, it's come out. They're not happy about it. So they're not taking any crap, which is why you saw Durant get, teed up pretty quick. You saw Draymond get teed up in the 5 minutes into the game on, well, I mean, that deserved it. I mean, freaking Boogie didn't. But they're not getting calls is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I said this the other day too. I think we can attribute it now. Remember how we always said that back end of back-to-backs were just tiring on some of these teams. I think it's like it's shortening the fuse. Like, I think some of these guys are getting their ass kicked, and they're like, or they're not necessarily getting their asses kicked, but the game's out of reach one way or the other, and they're like, man, I'm just tired. I'm gonna go to the showers a little early tonight. I'm gonna get a little mouthy, get a little lippy with the ref. I mean, it's
Well,
an
they
interesting
always
thing.
get
There's no
lippy.
scientific data on it, but it's something interesting to look at.
I mean, they're like the Clipper Light.
Yeah.
They're always lippy with it.
Yeah. Very lippy. Very lippy. All right, so we mentioned a couple point guards. I mean, I was looking while we were talking. There was not a whole lot that really caught my eye in terms of low dollar value. You nailed it right on the head. We said I don't like too many point guard options today. That's me. And again, I've been doing this and it's been successful the last couple times, but not necessarily paying all the way up at the point guard position, but finding some guy like Darren Collison. He's another guy that we didn't mention tonight. I think he's in a pretty good spot too. What?
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem I have with Darren Collison is his price is coming up.
Okay.
That backcourt for Indiana right now is expensive. I mean, you got freaking Victor Oladipo at 9,400. You got Collison at 6,400 now. I mean, this is the most expensive we've ever paid for him. That's not something that I take lightly. It's not a great matchup, but it's not a bad matchup. It's kind of like in there, like a meh.
Right.
Just kind of like the Bulls and the Pacers. They've really done a number on their ADVP over the last week or so. They've really gotten better at protecting the wing. Now, it might be the quality of wings that they've actually done or gone against. There's a lot of things to take into consideration there, but
hey, ADVP takes that into account, right?
Yeah, those matchups aren't as good as they were 2 weeks ago.
One thing that's funny to mention too about that Indiana Chicago game. These are well, I shouldn't say the only two teams, but one of only two teams coming into tonight's game are one of only two matchups with both teams coming in on normal rest. Both the Pacers and the Bulls this will only be their second game in the last 5 days, so we should see most of the starters being in this game too. Nobody's really like beaten over the head, unlike a lot of these other situations tonight. So Darren Collison was a guy that I briefly mentioned, and then also just looking through Jeff Teague. Minnesota is going up against the Clippers tonight, and Teague's price is at 6,200. He's coming back off injury. Could be an interesting spot, but again, we'll see. We shall see. All right, let's get to the shooting guard position. You know damn well we got to start with Victor Oladipo. So you win round one to the Oladipo battle, but the Pacers were kicking some ass. Did not really matter. Again, just as I mentioned with that Pacers Bulls thing a while ago, where this will be their second game in the last 5 days. Oladipo only played, I believe it was 29 minutes in that last game, so he's fully rested. I mean, these teams want to get these guys out on the court. You don't want them to be resting for too long. So again, I think that this could be a nice spot to go back to Oladipo.
Not at 9,400. There's no way.
I know.
And I like Oladipo. Good player, good. I like everything about it, but I can't do it at 9,400. It's just not going to be. I'm trying to look and see what his price is on DraftKings real quick.
Now, again, too, here going up against Chicago, I mentioned this with, earlier with Peyton and Schroeder just going up against teams with just a bad defensive efficiency and whatnot. I mean, again, Chicago, one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season, so this could be a smash spot for a superstar again. There's a lot of rest involved here for Oladipo.
I wouldn't say that Oladipo's a superstar yet. I say he's a star.
Well, he would have been if he didn't play with Westbrook last season.
Oh, my God.
Hey-o!
Whatever. Get off that train. I can't do it. I would rather go to, one of the Nuggets shooting guards. I'd rather go to Batum. Fournier's in a good matchup.
There are some fantastic matchups for shooting guards where you can easily overlook Oladipo. I just wanted to mention that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Tyreek Evans is in play, I think, again today. I mean, I'm just not paying. Tyreek Evans is about as high as I'd go. I mean, you could possibly even go Lou Williams, who's going to play 35 minutes off the bench. But I'm just not playing Oladipo.
All right, let's bring up some of these names here because you mentioned a couple guys, but I want to mention some things about them as well. So Tyreek Evans actually taking on the Knicks tonight. New York is actually the sixth best adjusted DVP matchup in the NBA for shooting guards, fourth most on tonight's slate. Again, Knicks really have not been that good on defense. They will get Kristaps Porzingis back tonight, so the defense a little better around the rim. But again, Evans just been doing it one way or the other lately. Andrew Wiggins of the Minnesota Timberwolves going up against the Clippers. That's been a pretty good matchup for shooting guards. It's actually the fifth best on tonight's slate. He'll probably get matched up with, I don't know, either Lou or Austin Rivers. I mean, either way you look at it, it's going to be very good news for him. So keep an eye out for that. Etuan Moore in a very good spot against the Denver Nuggets. Now, Etuan Moore playing a little more of the three nowadays. Denver, second best matchup for small forwards on tonight's slate. That's where Moore's going to be. Very, very affordable on FanDuel tonight. So make sure you're taking a hard look at him. Shooting guards for the Golden State Warriors tonight, Klay Thompson, Nick Young. I'm interested to see just how well this works, though, because I feel guys like Klay Thompson, Nick Young, the shooters like that, they need a good playmaker to get them the ball in order to be effective. So I'm not I know Klay Thompson can pretty much make any shot that he wants. I'm not a fan of the way that he creates those shots. So.
Well, he does a lot of it off of backdoor screens, and he's a really, really good catch and shoot guy. But he has been able to create more of his own shot this season. I mean, honestly, you could sit there and go, okay, well, let's draw a line in the sand. Are you playing Andrew Wiggins at 6,100?
Possibly. It's a good price.
It's a good price, but he's scoring dependent, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if I say you have $100 left in that cap, would you rather play Dwayne Wade or Andrew Wiggins? Now, Wade's going to play about 10 minutes less.
Right.
But who would you rather play right now?
I'm probably going to go Wiggins, though. I think that matchup against the Clippers is a very good one.
And Sacramento's not?
They are. They are.
Who do you think is going to be higher owned, Wade or Wiggins? Nobody plays Dwayne Wade right now.
I don't think anyone's going to play either one of them.
I mean, I could definitely see that answer.
Especially 11-game slate, too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, their shooting guard is absolutely loaded tonight. I mean,
yes,
you could honestly sit there and say, I'm not going to pay more than $4,500 for shooting guard tonight and be absolutely completely good. Or I could pay, Etuan Moore at 48 and Marco Bellinelli at 45. Right. I can go play Garrett Temple at 45. I can go play Nobody's going to play J.R. Smith. I can go play. Nope, not Bogdanovich.
Buddy Hield,
That scares me.
Garrett Temple.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Temple. I mean, you could go say I'm going to go play 48 for Moore and 45 for Danny Green or Marco Bellinelli. And you could be just fine and be happy with it. But like that's the thing that we've got to kind of understand is the price point for these shooting guards right now. You want a guy that is going to come in, either get a bunch of shots. Like, I look for shots at the shooting guard because not a lot, unless you're getting somebody like a Tyreek Evans or Victor Oladipo that run a lot of the point guard as well for their team. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a lot of, secondary stats from a lot of these point guards.
You mean like Devin Booker hitting 23 last night without a field goal?
Yeah, exactly.
In the first half?
Yeah, exactly. Or going, 1 for 12 in the first quarter against Philly, and then coming out and going 15 for 21 the rest of the night. I mean,
bananas.
You want shots, and that's why Andrew Wiggins is in play at 6,100. But you've got Justin Holiday, Marcus Smart. Now, Marcus Smart's one of those guys that, he'll run the 1 and the 2, but he,
and the
3, and he produces on defense. And you've got guys like this that can do this. It's just whether or not, they're going to actually be able to pay off. But, I mean, you're going to have to draw a line in the sand somewhere at shooting guard today. And, I just don't think that there's a need to pay up for Victor Oladipo.
Probably not after we had this discussion, but
so I mean,
I knew that when I was writing the damn players down last night. I'm like, whoa, look at all these shooting guards.
Yeah, I mean, you could even apply that to Lou Williams. Now, I think that Lou Williams, after calming down being an 11-game slate, I think he's going to be a little bit lower owned than people are thinking he's going to be. But
I got a heavy caution on Lou tonight. A heavy. Lou's gonna see Jimmy Butler defense tonight, no doubt about it.
You think so?
I know so. There's no way in hell. What are they gonna do? Put him on Austin Rivers?
I mean, that's a possibility.
I guess, but I mean, lose the Lou, Lose the Lou. Couple other matchups. You mentioned the Denver shooting guards, Gary Harris, Will Barton, New Orleans' best matchup in the NBA according to adjusted DVP for shooting guards this season, so keep that in mind. Chris Middleton has had a pretty good history against the Detroit Pistons. Again, do you need to pay off that much? I don't think so, but again, I'm going to have a nice graphic in the article today that'll show you what I'm talking about. Drew Holiday's an interesting one, right? So he's been crushing it without Anthony Davis. The price is still right, 66 on DK, 71 on FanDuel. However, when we look at the adjusted DVP, Denver is actually the second best against shooting guards this season. And, I think on a 10-game slate, not necessarily a terrible idea to fade him with GVPs, but, he's been very consistent without AD. So I'm thinking maybe high 20s, low 30s for Drew Holiday. It's tough. I don't have him as a caution. I don't have him as a GVP only. I have a news section in my article today called "On the Fence," and this is where Holiday is, right on the.
I just think it's hard to pay for on a slate like today. I think it's hard to pay for a guy like Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Especially when Clay is $200 cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about one more guy real quick. Nick Batum, Hornets against the Warriors tonight. 6,500 on FanDuel isn't bad. Finally had that breakout performance since coming back from injury.
I told everybody that he was gonna have it. It was gonna happen. At some point, it was gonna happen, and you just have to keep buying on him because we've seen it happen before. It's not gonna just. He didn't forget how to play basketball just because he had an injury. And everybody was like, no. So,
Frenchie Batum. All right, let's get to the small forwards here tonight. Golden State's going to have a plethora of options there tonight. Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala, Omri Caspi, all sort of lined up for some minutes tonight. What is the most appealing to you here?
I think it's the combination of Iggy and Durant. I think Iggy's the guy that's going to see the biggest bump tonight. Outside of, because Iggy can play the 3, the 4, the 1,
the 7, yeah.
Yeah. The biggest, you've got Jordan Bell that's going to probably slide into the 5 when they go small. They could put, there's a lot of different rotations that they could put out there tonight, and it's going to cause Steve Kerr to get creative, which is never a good thing for DFS purposes.
No, never. I think Caspi sees a pretty good chunk of minutes tonight, especially if Dre's going to be out.
That's another thing. You could have Caspi seeing an extended run because he can play the 2 or the 3 or the 4.
I'm a Caspi guy.
It's so hard to, other than Iggy, Durant and Clay, it's so hard to predict what they're going to do.
It is.
Especially if you're limiting yourself to, a limited amount of lineups, like, between 1 to 3 lineups. You can't just say, okay, I want 10% exposure to, Caspi, 10% to Bell, 20% to Iggy, 30% to Durant. You can't do that.
Well, how do you think I feel? Well,
that's your own problem for only making one.
It's hysterical because last season I had so much more success on the smaller slates with my one lineup mentality, and it's funny, this year I've been having a lot more success on like these full slates doing the one lineup, which is so ass backwards. But
you want to know why we hate one of the big 4 being out for the Golden State Warriors? Here's a reason why, and this is the direct quote from Austin Slater on Twitter. Steve Kerr says today in his press conference, it's not a given Livingston starts today. The point guard spot could change game to game while Steph is out. Thanks. Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. Glad you are like us and draw your line in the stand.
If you were listening to the podcast earlier, someone said something.
Oh no, we did that, but but you've got to think about that. Like, that's not just for the point guard position. That's for every freaking position not named Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson.
Yeah. It's not a very, very nice situation to be in tonight. It's a lot of guessing games. So the one thing though, Kevin Durant, he will be for certain going to be seeing an uptick in usage tonight. A lot of different things. It's just going to be the Kevin Durant show, so I like it. MKG, be damned. All right, let's talk about some other small forwards on the slate. We got LeBron James going up against the Sacramento Kings. Here's what's interesting, Keith. So we saw what the Greek did to the Kings, right?
Oh, yeah.
Twice in a week, right? And it was last week. So we got a nice foundation to work with here. So if the Greek did it, I'm sure LeBron could do it. I'm wondering what sort of ownership we're looking at LeBron against Sacramento in this matchup. Obviously, I think LeBron's better than Greek. Sorry, kid. Give it a couple more years, maybe he'll be better than the old man. But look,
I honestly,
the two are the same person almost.
I honestly don't think that we're going to see higher. I think Kevin Durant's going to be the highest owned shooting or small forward.
That's a good take.
By a landslide. He's
I wonder if people are that smart, though. Are they?
Yeah, they're that smart.
I don't know. I do not give a lot of credit to people smarts out there. There are some really dumb people out there. Really dumb.
There are, but there are also...
you wonder how they get a library card. They're that dumb.
Yeah.
No one that we know, though. No one that we know.
I just don't see how they're not the... here's the thing. If you want to be different in tournaments, fade Durant and go with Giannis or LeBron.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Giannis going up against the Detroit Pistons tonight. That's certainly something that we got to look into. I don't have the history. I meant to have this in my note. I am useless. What, any idea how he's done?
No.
I mean, I'm looking at it now. Tell the people a story while I look at this.
Danilo Gallinari's questionable tonight.
He is. I saw that. Just looking at Greeks, FanDuel points here. Hanging just below that 50-point mark. He did have a 63, though, against the Pistons last season. So
yeah, it's a little bit different of a situation this time.
Sure.
But, I mean, we've seen that he's become matchup proof. The only person that can stop Giannis it's not even Jason Kidd anymore. It's Giannis.
It's Giannis.
So,
Giannis 2.0.
Giannis getting in foul trouble can stop him. But, we've seen him get in foul trouble in the first half before and still come out and dominate the second half and salvage a night, too. So, I mean, like I said, it's apples to apples. If you want to be different in tournaments, fade Durant, go with LeBron or Giannis. Because the masses are going to be stupid enough to just automatically blindly plug in Durant without actually thinking about the game theory part of it. So I think it's definitely worth and like I said, guys, I'm always quantifying this by saying it's not that Durant's a bad play. He's a fantastic play. He's a cheap play. Okay, cheaper than LeBron or Giannis. It's merely a game theory angle. If you want to be different and get lower ownership, then go with LeBron or Giannis. It's just that simple.
Book it, brah. Couple interesting matchups to look at. Torian Prince of Atlanta going up against the Magic tonight. Orlando is actually the best adjusted DVP matchup for small forwards this season, so that's interesting. Also with a couple guys, I'm not going to go through where they are. They're just good matchups for small forwards. Rudy Gay of the San Antonio Spurs. And this is interesting, too, because this could – well, hold on. Let me just name the guys, right? So Bojan Bogdanovic of the Pacers, he's in a good matchup. Jaylen Brown, the Celtics, going to be in a good matchup here against the Mavericks. So then I'll get to Rudy Gay here. So Miami, the best spot to attack them by far is that small forward position. But number one, we don't know if Rudy Gay is going to start. And now we got Kyle Anderson out of the lineup. So I heard you mention Danny Green before in the shooting guard position. You think maybe he could possibly slide in that 3 spot for the Spurs tonight?
Yeah, because they can run Tony Parker and combination of Patty Mills, or they've got some other options that they can run at the 2 as well. And Danny Green is their best defensive player. So yeah, I could definitely see that and put Rudy Gay at the 4 and LMA at the 5. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. That's one of the reasons. I mean, we know Danny Green's going to, barring foul trouble, is going to play 35 to 38 minutes. I mean, Rudy Gay did start the other night. It came out, but who knows if that's the way that pop's going to go tonight. And like you said, it's a really good matchup, and I mean, it's difficult because I'm sitting here looking at somebody that's $3,800 that I'd rather play over, a couple other guys that I think has the ability to go for, close to 8x in this matchup tonight. It's just a question of whether or not he's going to get the minutes. But I mean, Rudy Gay is a great option. You got Bogdanovic going up against Chicago. That's a good matchup.
Oh yeah.
So,
Now I'm sorry, I spaced out for a second because I was talking in the Slack chat channel. But did you mention Lance Stevenson?
I did not, because
Well, hold on. First of all, I want to give Donuts credit for this one because I was reading his article this morning, and he pointed out the fact that Corey Joseph questionable for tonight's game. So if he doesn't play tonight, then Lance Stevenson's going to see the chunk of those backup point guard minutes. So I just wanted to give him credit because I wasn't even thinking about that. And, touche, my friend. Okay, now what were you going to say?
I hate Lance Stevenson. I hate playing him right now. But I mean, you can't argue with. I mean, he's another guy. If that's the case in the situation that we're going to see, then that's somebody that we've got to take into consideration.
Yep.
I'm going to leave my sneaky small forward play for the VIP members. So
I hope I don't give it away. Somebody mentioned Josh Richardson. You don't even have to say if it is or it isn't. Just do whatever. But Josh Richardson without Hassan Whiteside has been a lot better. However, tonight's
we've
matchup.
talked about that.
Okay, yeah, the matchup against the Spurs isn't all that glorious, but whatever. All right, so I know you have your one sneaky play there in small forwards.
David Nwaba's a small forward tonight.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Good matchup.
That obviously wasn't my sneaky play, but he's in play.
Okay.
That's kind of weird that he's a small forward. He's come back from injury and played 22 and 16 minutes. I think he's going to play more towards the 22 rather than the 16. This is a sneaky game stack, by the way.
Oh,
Chicago and Indiana.
Good history between the two teams of keeping it pretty even in the season series and whatnot. So
yeah,
or in the series over the last couple of seasons.
Yep.
All right. There we go. We've got all that. All right, let's talk about power forwards tonight. I know he's not probably the top raw points guy, but I just got to get him out of the way. Thad Young. Chad Young going up against the Chicago Bulls. It is a damn good matchup, though, for power forwards this season. Third best in the NBA, second best on tonight's slate for power forwards. So Thad Young sitting there at $6,000, looking like a plum, ripe for the picking, my friends.
Yeah, it's like I said. This is a good game stack. Don't think you're going to get creative or cute by getting players out of this game because you're not. But it's a great. I mean, the top three power forwards for this game are all by price are all in play tonight in my opinion.
Okay. Now that we got him out of the way, we should get to the real folks.
I mean, you could play both. I mean, Sabonis is in play too. Good matchup. Been playing. His minutes have actually decreased a little bit, which is weird.
All right, let's talk about the big guys. The big guys at the top. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because this is Porzingis' first game back off the ankle injury, but there will be no Tim Hardaway Jr. in this game, so he should get much more of a usage rate. Oh, and by the way, Courtney Leach, I completely forgot with Hardaway out. People are going to hate his guts.
There you go.
People are going to hate his guts, but I'll go back to it all day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So not a Porzingis fan again, even in the situation without Hardaway.
No.
Okay.
It's all price dependent. Like, can he get me 50? Yeah, he can, but if I want to play Giannis or LeBron and I want to play Boogie and with Draymond off the board, I mean, I'm going all the way down. I'm not paying more than, let's see here, what's the highest? I'm not paying more than $6,600 at power forward today.
Interesting. Now, since that's your prerogative going on here, so you're gonna scoff at the idea of Aaron Gordon then?
Yeah.
I mean, this is an Aaron Gordon blow up spot.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, they're playing Atlanta, bro. Why not?
Because he just played the Knicks, played 38 minutes and got 26 points.
That's a terrible matchup.
The Knicks without Porzingis is a terrible matchup?
A lot of length.
Without Porzingis.
A lot of length.
How I'm trying to grasp this concept.
Hernan Gomez, you got down there. You
Oh.
got Canner. You got O'Quinn. Again, a lot of arms down there.
Oh my God.
Lance Thomas, if he gets in there, watch out now. Again, a lot of length.
I think you're absolutely just.
And again, the Hornets not a great
Crazy.
matchup, which we called, but this is the Hawks. Like, this is the Hawks. Like, Hawk on them.
He's not getting 45 tonight.
Wow. He will.
No, there's too many other good matchups.
There are some good ones.
You
yes,
can
I would
play
agree.
everybody everybody obviously for the Magic is in play. I would rather play Vooch, who's cheaper. I would rather play Elf, who's cheaper. I'd rather play Fournier, who's cheaper. Why am I going to go pay for the most expensive guy on the, I don't need to. Not at this position.
Okay, fair enough.
I would almost say I would rather go play Kelly Olynyk versus the Spurs.
Oh my God, that ponytail, gross.
That's how much I just I don't pay Aaron Gordon is not somebody I'm going to pay $8,300 for, even in a good matchup.
Have you seen Not Another Teen Movie?
Dude, I watched Aaron Gordon tear up the freaking Thunder. I know he's got upside. That's not the point.
That was not the question. Have you seen Not Another Teen Movie?
No.
Oh.
Wait, maybe I have. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like, Janie Briggs, she's got a ponytail.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
That's a great movie. Very underrated movie.
But why am I gonna go get the most expensive guy in this game?
All right. From that perspective, you make a solid point. Okay? But I think the matchup's good. You're probably right. You probably don't need to pay up for that.
I'm not denying the matchup.
You know what, though? I'm a guy, all right? I'm a guy that does not mind paying up for security sometimes, right? Like, if I know I got a couple...
26 points in a good matchup is security?
See, you're talking about that. You're talking about the past, all right? I'm talking about tonight, Keith, all right? I'm talking about tonight. Tonight's matchup against the Hawks. Smash spot.
Would you say that Denver's a smash spot? Would you say that Phoenix is a smash spot? Chicago's a smash spot?
I see those. Okay? I see them. He's battling some sort of a cold sore. Couldn't play those days.
Aaron Gordon is anything but secure and safe.
You're nuts. All right. In this matchup, I don't care about the other ones. I care about this one. We talked about Chad Young going up against the Bulls, but we were just throwing so many names out there. I stopped listening. Jason Tatum, Dallas, third best matchup for power forwards on tonight's slate. Again, no Marcus Morris, Ersan Ilyasova. Speaking of that Aaron Gordon fella, he's not too good on defense. That's who Ilyasova should draw on the defensive end. That'd be a good one. And then Taj Gibson, Clippers are the sixth best matchup for power forwards on tonight's slate. John.
Yeah.
You've got
I agree with all those.
I dig it. Jordan Bell, you mentioned this fella. We should, keyword should, expect monster minutes out of the man tonight. Yay, nay.
Well, it depends. I mean, I think we can expect 23, possibly.
Oh my.
Let me see here. I just had this up.
Well, let's not forget about this here too. That Zaza Pachulia listed as questionable.
I've got they said that he would play.
He would play. Okay,
yeah.
Never mind.
But it's not like he plays a lot. I've got Omri Caspi at 20, Iggy at 29, Livingston at 24, Jordan Bell right now at 23. Those are the minutes I have, and Quinn Cook at 11. Those are the minutes I have for these guys, but that's with Draymond questionable. So that's not even when I adjust for Draymond being out, which I'm doing right now. It's going to. Come on. Okay, it's going to pop in David West at 13. And it's not.
Oh my.
Refresh.
I took all of tonight's inactives off the floor.
There we go. Okay. So it'll pop in Jordan
Okay,
Bell at
okay.
25. Yeah, it'll pop in Jordan Bell at 25.
Gross. Well, no, that's not gross. I was looking at
So
something.
Jordan Bell at 3,600 on FanDuel is going to be almost a complete steal.
Let me ask you this, though. Charlotte's been pretty damn good up against power forwards, bigs as well. Any hesitation?
No. And the reason is
None.
because he's so athletic. And like there are enough like he gets a lot of his stuff by garbage. Like he cleans up the trash. You remember the was it D3, Mighty Ducks, where they
I'm well aware of that movie. Yes.
Yeah. That's what Jordan Bell does. He comes in and he cleans up the trash. So with Charlotte having to pay more attention to Clay, more attention to Durant, Iggy, he's just gonna. I mean, this is the ultimate troll spot because we could see Kevon Looney come out and play 20 minutes.
Very true.
It's just this is why we don't like the situation with both of these guys out because I think could it honestly be like Draymond creates more of uncertainty being out than Curry? Because they have so many different ways that they can attack it with putting Durant at the 4, Iggy at the 3. Like, because I honestly feel like Draymond being out, whether it be Curry or, if Curry was in and Draymond's out, it creates more problems than if Curry's out and Draymond's in.
Yeah, roundabout way. Sure as hell agree with that.
So this one's going to be I think you can attack it with Jordan Bell, but don't be surprised if Kevon Looney comes in and just absolutely eats all that up.
Show enough. All right, we all good here on power forwards.
Montrezl Harrell's still cheap.
Montrezl Harrell.
He's 4,300. I don't know. I want to attack the front court of Minnesota, and I don't know how to do it other than I know DeAndre Jordan's going to play the minutes, but I feel like you can do it. I feel like you can do it with other guys as well, and I'm not sure who. It's going to depend on whether or not Gallinari plays.
A couple of the guys, Kenneth Faried, we got for the Nuggets. Again, power forward minutes. Even with Wilson Chandler still seems to be there. Backup center minutes are there too. Don't mind him going up against New Orleans. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I think Faried once had a ridiculous game against New Orleans. I'm going to have to go look at this, but I do believe that that's the case. He was one guy that we did not mention. And then, what do we got here? Jeff Green's been playing a couple more minutes here. Now, what was interesting, I played Jeff Green on Monday night, but I figured Channing Frye would be out. He wasn't, and then Green still ended up hitting off on 5x value there. So I got lucky there. Don't know if I'm going to get lucky again, but it's an interesting spot to look at. Don't forget, too, Willie Cauley-Stein is not making the road trip for the Sacramento Kings. So Zach Randolph, his minutes seem to be pretty set.
Be careful on Scal there.
Okay. But regardless, Zebo's going to get minutes. I know that he's priced all the way up around he's 59,000 now, which is insane. But again, I think a solid workload for him is certainly in the cards tonight. We'll go with that. I get you there with Scal. But again, Zebo should he won't see less minutes because of it.
I agree.
Okay. All right. That we good? Power forwards?
Uh-huh.
Fantastic. All right, let's talk about centers tonight.
It's two guys.
Yeah, pretty much. Boogie going up against the Denver Nuggets tonight. Again, AD is out, so Boogie's just going to get more usage, a lot more numbers coming his way. Again, Denver's best rim protector, Jokic, out of the lineup as well, so that just makes a matchup that was already good even better. Any follow-up to that?
Yeah, he hates Mason Plumlee.
That's correct. He does.
For those of you that don't know the sequence, I'm going to post it in my channel in Slack. It happened about 2 years ago now. Almost 2 years. No, it was last year. It was almost last year to the day. It was December 21st, the sequence between Boogie and Mason Plumlee when they were both with the former teams. It's one for the ages, folks. It's not more than two. It's a lot more than two guys. I mean, there's a lot of good centers in play today, but I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that you gotta know. Boogie hates Mason Plumlee.
A lot of people don't like Dookies, but I'm sure there's more than that. All right, centers also tonight. Andre Drummond at the Milwaukee Bucks. It's an interesting thing that the Pistons are only opened up as a 3.5-point underdog here on the road in Milwaukee. So I don't know. I think that leads me to believe we really haven't talked about a lot of Pistons tonight because, again, it's not a great matchup going up against the Bucks.
Well, they all play their 23, 26 minutes. They, one of them will go off every once in a while. Most of the time, the only one that's really is worth talking about on a consistent basis is Andre Drummond. I mean, Tobias Harris is good for cash, but how many times does he put up a 45? Like once every couple weeks. Even in good matchups, he's still he's got the LMA syndrome. He goes in, gets his 35, and gets out.
Yeah. But for Drummond, this is the sixth best matchup on tonight's slate for centers. Again, we've seen a lot of people do some damage against this Milwaukee front line. Now that they're limited to basically with John Henson, Thon Maker, guys like that. So Drummond should have no problem against either one of them in this matchup. We are seeing Kevin Love go up against the Sacramento Kings. That's good news for Love. Sacramento actually the third best matchup on adjusted DVP for centers tonight. I think regardless who it is, Love pulling Zebo out to the perimeter, pulling Scal out to the perimeter, it's going to be a good thing no matter what. Look for a nice shooting night from Kevin Love here tonight.
He has to deal with Kostas Koufos.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, man.
He's alive. That's about as much as we could say for Koufos. I like him. Like when he gets the minutes, the guy, he plays with some pretty cool enthusiasm for a European white dude. So I dig it. We've also got Al Horford on tonight's slate going up against the Mavericks. All you need to know is that the Mavericks suck down low. They can't rebound. Not a whole lot going on good down there for them. Dallas, a very favorable matchup for both for power forwards and centers, both spots that Horford will occupy in his time on the court. So, boom shakalaka. There you go. Now, a guy that I always love talking about, you never love, and I totally get it. You need to get over the 30-point mark to get some love around these parts. But we were talking about that Bulls-Pacers maybe being a pretty good matchup. I like both centers here, Miles Turner, but the guy I wanted to talk about was Robin Lopez here. I mean, Indiana's just been such a great matchup for centers. They're actually the best on tonight's slate, according to adjusted DVP. Any way you could take a chance here tonight.
Not on Robin Lopez.
It's Indiana, though, man.
I don't care.
It's Indiana.
Is he free?
Why you gotta go and ask difficult questions like that, man? Nah, he's not free.
Okay, then why? I just... What is...
5,900, unfortunately.
For Robin Lopez?
Yep.
You're absolutely kidding me.
No.
Yeah, no.
5,900 on FanDuel.
There's no way. No way.
I mean, you can at least say that FanDuel priced them up for the matchup.
Oklahoma would have to be frozen by 4 o'clock in order for me to do it.
Wow. That's very selfish of you to say. Not only would hell have to freeze over, but Oklahoma individually.
Yeah, I would much rather go to Kostas Koufos at 35. I would much rather go to Enes Kanter who's got a higher ceiling even against Memphis at 62. Nuts. I actually think that Enes Kanter has had some pretty good matchups against Memphis.
Interesting.
Quinn Cook to start tonight. Boom.
Interesting.
Danilo Gallinari to play tonight.
Oh, wow.
I'm
I
glad he got over
the Wesley
the butt
Johnson,
strain.
and now I'm glad I did.
Yeah, that automatically takes a hit for all the Clippers. So yeah, glad he could get over the butt strain. By the way,
Boys still get you. They gonna get you.
News.com. Enes Kanter. Average.
So, but by the way, those were the only ones that I had any fun stats about. Don't forget Dwight Howard too. I could see this actually being a pace down game tonight, so that would certainly help Howard here.
Yeah, Kanter has had a 40-point game against. Now you played 29, and that was in 29 minutes against Memphis. So. I mean,
damn Schmeenus.
He hasn't played. That was the only game he played over 24 minutes against them. Now, granted, that was all with OKC, so you've got to take into consideration they had, Steven Adams there too. So, and he was coming off the bench, but it's. I mean, come on. Dude, there's no way. Like, Mason Plumlee's cheaper going up against Boogie. That's a risk, but still. You got Kyle Quinn. I mean, Bismack Biyombo, I would rather play.
Jeez. Now you're really dumpster diving on my Rolo. I told you, I got history with Rolo. His brother was the center on my basketball team, and, I feel like I have to be nice to him.
Yeah, you don't.
It's easy for you to say. You're not in the situation.
Okay.
All right. Now, we're done here today on today's podcast. And, right? Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, we had a question today from Texas Hard Fighter. Okay? I don't know what that means. His name is Kendrick Tilley. He's a member here of the DFS Army, VIP member. And he asked, now this is for draft. Do you play a lot on draft?
I have, yes.
Okay. Do you know what is better? Is it better to use FanDuel stats or DraftKings stats when building the lineups there?
It's not really building a lineup. It's like they're snake drafts.
Well, yes. Again, you're building something. All right, Captain Literal Man.
I've always used FanDuel because they don't have the bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's part of what's built into our projections. Sorry, it took me a second. For DraftKings is, the ability to get 3-point bonuses, double-double bonuses, and stuff like that. So I would actually use FanDuel.
Likes FanDuel for it. And then also Benson wanted me to mention him as being awesome. So there you go, dude.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, God.
Hey, look, if I catch your request at the right time, they could be on the podcast. I'm just trying to make people's dreams a reality, Keith. So, anywho, you want to make your dreams a reality, join us at the DFS Army. You can use the promo code podcast for 20% off each month of your subscription. With all that being said, me, Keith, and the rest of the Army, we gone.
Peace out.